believing they could imprison him, Samson tore them open. He didn't just open them, he uprooted them completely, frames included, and carried them on his shoulders like bundles of firewood. He climbed the mountain with this impossible weight, each step resounding like thunder, leaving an entire city undefended and in terror. Israel had never seen a champion like him. Stories of his exploits spread from town to town, from tent to tent, whispered in awe and reverence. Children listened with eyes wide as saucers, elders shook their heads in disbelief, and Israel's enemies trembled at the sound of his name. He was a living legend, a myth that walked among them with flesh and blood. But that unstoppable force had a crack in it, an almost imperceptible chink in the armor of his character. A blind spot that, like a steady drop of water on the hardest rock, would eventually open a chasm that would swallow him whole. An uncontrollable attraction to foreign women, specifically Philistines, precisely the oppressive people he had been called to fight. It was as if the same power that made him invincible in battle made him vulnerable in his heart. As if the anointing that set him apart for the holy war could not touch that intimate region of his being where the deepest and most dangerous desires resided. Samson was raised with a crystalline purpose engraved in his soul from childhood: to free Israel from the Philistine yoke, to break the chains of oppression that had held his people in bondage for 4 decades, to be God's instrument to restore freedom and dignity to the children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But he could never free his own heart. That inner prison remained intact, its bars forged not of iron but of uncontrolled desire. He could break physical chains as if they were strands of flax, but he could not break the invisible bonds that held him captive to his own passions. From a young age, he sought relationships outside of God's people. It was not a decision made in a moment of weakness, but a constant pattern that would be repeated throughout his life. Seduced by the exotic, by the forbidden, by what represented precisely what he had been called to fight against, it was as if he was magnetically attracted to what he should repel, as if the very fire of his consecration generated a thirst that could only be quenched in the poisoned fountains of his enemies. The sensual became his Achilles' heel. Where other men could resist, he fell. Where others found strength to turn away, he drew closer. It wasn't ignorance, he knew exactly what he was doing. It wasn't lack of alternatives, he had a whole village of God-fearing women to choose from.